And it's Speaking of Sports on NBC Sports Radio and NBC Sports Radio right now. Satellite radio, hundreds of radios across the country. You name it, we got you covered. As a matter of fact, the mobile app, so you can take us along with you. All right, speaking of sports, we always like to bring in Rick Horrow. He is the professor, especially when it comes to marketing, endorsements, the business of sports. He joins us now. I've got to ask you, Professor, if you were in Chicago firsthand for the NFL draft this year.
For the first day of it. And then I was out in San Jose for the Sharks game 1 and got back in Florida to see what happens on television. Today is a 7-game watching love fest. You mean to tell me, based on an introduction, that if I wanted to go to Borneo and give a speech there to the natives, I could actually hear your show on the NBC Sports app?
That's exactly correct. Yes, you could, as long as you were able to get service. You sure would.
Oh, service. Oh, all right. Well, I'll wait for the next commercial to see how I get service.
Depends where in Borneo, I think, actually you are. But
if you're near a tower, which I don't think there is one. So, listen, the idea of the draft is, here is a news flash after watching some of my friends on the media all over the country. It's going to be a difficult Super Bowl in Houston this February, because how can you possibly accommodate 32 teams who basically, when you look at their draft results and what they said to the media, everybody's going to the Super Bowl this year. It's amazing. Somebody's got to lose. How are you going to lose with everybody you drafted?
I know they got a lot of room down there, but I don't know if they have that much room. It's a big new stadium, but boy, I tell you what, they're going to have to stagger that action, I'm thinking. Hey, let's stay with the draft for just a second. I know that Borneo is not in line to get it, but there are some other cities that would like to have the NFL draft. Chicago has put on a really good show. Who do you think gets it next?
Everybody misinterpreted moving it from Chicago, and Roger Goodell will say something this week about how positive the economic impact was in Chicago. $81 billion last year based on a survey, 36,000 hotel rooms. It's not an infomercial for Chicago, but what I'm saying is the grand experiment of moving the draft around is working. So when the stadium gets done in L.A., you can be sure that happens. That's a guarantee. They may stagger it where if you get a Super Bowl a couple of years from now, the draft happens either right before or right after. If that's the case, then look at Minnesota. The point is, everybody with a large downtown ballroom or a small auditorium that's willing to have it, it's going to move around now like the Pro Bowl does and like the Super Bowl does, and it's a very, very good thing for the NFL.
Yeah, it really is, and I think you might be able to find a couple of places that might fit out here in Los Angeles to have that little NFL party.
Yeah, I think that's probably true. That's a given. It's just a question of when.
Let's talk about a nice upgrade for the fans, a mobile ticketing application that I think fans are going to be very, very happy. If you want to talk about apps and how they're growing and advancing, this is a great example, isn't it?
There's a company called Ruckus. It's a mobile app. They saw a massive spike in sales for the NFL, NHL, and NBA playoff games. What they do is you can log onto it, and it looks like your seat virtually based on if you were at the game, but you can see it in a computer. And if the only seats that are available are behind a post, then they show the post. But listen, 81% of Ruckus users prefer a panoramic view. And the bottom line is you look it up, you see where you are in the arena, you make the commitment, and it'll be a great app. Look for that to be a joint venture with all of these other ticketing organizations in the future. Good for them.
Yeah, now staying with the app thing, too, the Minnesota Vikings are launching a real fan-friendly new app that is going to coincide with the opening of their new home, which is U.S. Bank Stadium. I've seen the pictures of this. It's absolutely gorgeous. Tell us about the app.
Well, the stadium's going to be beautiful, and the Super Bowl there is going to be amazing in 2 years. And they're going to have a small but important and discreet area honoring Prince, by the way, who was a big fan there. But the app is the big thing that we're talking about today. 500,000 people logged onto it, bought into it even before it tied into the new stadium. Now you're able to order food. You're able to order transportation from the game at the end of the game. Obviously, all the stuff that you want to do when you're in a game, but you could do it in one app. And now it's going to be a standard, by the way, my friend, for everybody around all leagues to look at high-tech-wise and see if they can get one for their stadium, too.
He's the professor of sports. We talk to him every week about the business, the deal making, the fun behind the scenes stuff when it comes to sports. This is anything but fun. Johnny Manziel, the former Heisman Trophy winner, I believe is probably by now, am I correct that he has exhausted all of his marketing deals, all of his sponsors? Is he down to just mom and dad's money now?
Mom and dad's money, there's a lot of it.
Oh, yeah.
Go through that, too. Yeah,
that's a lot of it.
Yeah, Panini America's deal is expired. He had a couple of other smaller ones. They're gone. Listen, you're in tough shape when Drew Rosenhaus drops you. So the bottom line of this is that he is running out of chances, and now he's got the justice system to worry about. And frankly, if he was the second coming of Johnny Unitas or Dan Marino, people may take a chance on him. There were question marks about his ability to be an NFL quarterback, even with high character. So he's got to do a lot. It will be hard to imagine he'll be on the field again, but you got to give him a chance.
Let's talk about this. This is really exciting for Raider fans. The Oakland Raiders owner, Mark Davis, has been talking with the people in Las Vegas about a serious deal to move there. There is a deal in place, or I guess they're talking about a deal with Oakland County about staying there at least one more year. That might be two if they're going to try and build this palace they're talking about in Las Vegas. Honestly, Rick, you're on the inside of this kind of thing. What are really the chances the Oakland Raiders could become the Las Vegas Raiders?
Well, just because Mark Davis stands up and says we want to make this the silver and black state, it doesn't automatically happen. You got to find $1 billion, and that doesn't happen overnight. The thing about Vegas is you went from nobody touching it to now there is a potential rush to get in first. The real issue there is not do you have the money to build the stadium, is are there enough people that will go to games, or are the casinos the people that will get the entertainment? There's a new arena, obviously, and the bottom line is 10 games a year, there's probably a really good chance that could happen feasibly. The real issue now is, will the NFL allow it? And it looks, for Roger Goodell's sake, like he's softening the stance. So we know there have been some back-channel conversations, and the Oakland County Coliseum Authority has signed up for a 3-year flexible advance to give the Raiders 3 years to play around with this, and also to give Oakland a couple of years to put something on the table, even though they haven't so far. So there is more leverage now for Mark Davis than there was before.
Seems like the tougher putt is trying to get Roger Goodell to sign off on it. I think if you're in Las Vegas, there's an awful lot of money in that town. Rick, thanks very much for being with us. It is always great to hear the business of sports straight from the professor. Good to talk to you.
Yeah, I'll see you nonstop to Borneo, and then we'll talk next week.
Let me know when you're going to Borneo. I'll go with you on that trip, all right? Great stuff. The professor joining us on the show this morning. Up next, Drew Sherman. Oh, we've called the lawyers. Stand by. Oh, back-to-back lawyers. Oh, my God. It's NBC Sports Radio. We are Speaking of Sports.